Welcome to the Connected Leaders Academy virtual conference designed to reshape your vision of transformation. As we navigate the evolving business landscape, our speakers will unveil innovative strategies to manage and initiate change. Prepare to adapt, innovate, and lead, ensuring your role as a catalyst in this transformative era.
Greetings, everyone. I hope you're doing well and being well. There's always a beginning. There's a beginning in everything. And the beginning is a thought. The beginning is an idea. From that comes, or where it comes from, one would say formlessness. Formlessness into form, or form into formlessness, is a cycle in perpetuity. Formlessness energized finds substance, right? Formlessness energized becomes or manifests into a form. A form energized eventually goes into formlessness, but when it does, it grows, it improves, it evolves. A form not energized at all or filled with negative energy per se will shrink, deteriorate, or dissolve. My name is Pratt. I'm a martial artist and entrepreneur. And I take the principles of martial arts, especially Tai Chi, and the concepts and put that in movement in health and finding health in movement. Overall, the definite idea of martial arts is really gathering energy, harnessing energy in a direction to a point. That's what really martial art is. And in essence, that's life. So the beginning is emptiness, is the void. Um, it's that darkness from which birth, let me put it right. It's the darkness from which things, it's the darkness in a positive sense from which things are birthed, from which things or ideas come into fruition, come into light. So the question is, how do you awaken something that already exists? How do you bring about something that already exists? So if you're talking about energy, how do you awaken energy that's already existing in you? Is to be more aware. The more aware we are, the deeper we go. Yes, we have feelings. We know when we're hungry. We know when we're sad. But when you take it to a deeper level, when you change the focus, it's something, it becomes something, it becomes something else. We do various things to feel energy. We exercise, we do movements to feel great, to energize us, keep us moving, and so on and so forth. But being aware, being more consciously aware, going deeper takes a whole different direction, takes you more into your being, more into yourself, finding out who you are, right? But the easiest way of feeling energy that already exists is sitting still, is being still. Being still helps you connect, helps you connect to the energy that's within. If you're always moving, you don't feel that, right? For example, taking a picture, using a camera, taking a picture, when you focused on the subject and you're moving around, when you take the picture, it's blurry. But when you hold the camera still and you take the picture, then you can find the definition of the subject, or you can observe or see a better definition of the object that you're taking a picture of, right? Feeling, we all say we can feel, but when you're still, when you don't move, the stillness is finding balance. When you're not moving, when you're still, you feel the energy. The energy within you amplifies, you can feel it more, right? Um, and then it brings into being the challenge of when you find balance, the balance with the duality of life, meaning yin or yang. Are you too forward? Are you too backwards? Are you too soft? Are you too hard? But all of this is a feeling, right? And the feeling is energy. Energy in motion we call emotion. Right? So we know how we feel when we're happy, we know how we feel when we're sad, but being more in tune with yourself, slowing down, I always say slow down and smell the roses, gives you enough time to breathe, take a deep breath, calm down. And the breath always helps to sync the body, organize the body. Um, and in calmness, you have clarity. In Tai Chi, there's a concept called Yi, Qi, and Li, right? Yi is mind intent, Qi is life force, energy. Li is the implementation or execution of that intent, the work put in or the effort put in for that thing to manifest. Energy manifests in various forms. Also, the various forms come in combinations of the forms prior. When we pay more attention to these things, it heightens our awareness. Our awareness is bringing our consciousness from unconsciousness, if that makes sense, right? So when we are more conscious of what's happening in us as well as around us, even though we tend to be pulled in different directions, um, whether it be in society or culture or what have you, we're pulled in in many different directions. Bringing it all back is paying attention, or paying attention to you, paying attention to us within, because what happens within affects what happens on the outside, as vice versa. What happens outside affects us within, and sometimes we really need to be centered to be able to cope and deal with certain things that get thrown away unexpectedly or expectedly, right? So feeling energy, awakening this energy within us, is us being more aware, paying attention to certain things. And there's certain exercises and breathing methods that help to manifest the awakening of the energy within. That mind-body connection, what is that? Defined by our body, we're big, we're small, we're fat, we're thin, what have you. We have a physical strong construct or limitation, right? When we look at things that way. Say, for example, if you close your eyes, there's darkness, you don't see anything. What is there? There's no boundaries, there are no boundaries, there are no limitations. There's a vast space, right? Some would say that's moving into unconsciousness. For example, when you're sleeping, where are you? Which space are you in? When you wake up in the morning, when you open your eyes, what space are you in? Now you're conscious. When you're sleeping, you're somewhat unconscious, right? And it's interesting how the unconscious can affect the conscious, and the conscious is influenced by the unconscious. I don't know if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. But the mind-body connection is affected by a feeling. How do we feel? Which is influenced by a spirit, a soul, or a perception of ourselves, right? So how we feel inside, like I said earlier, affects the outside, and meaning your physical being is affected by the energy that manifests within, which affects your emotion, which in turn affects your mental capacity or mentality, I guess, which in turn affects your causal mind or causal body, which affects the intuition and to your pure essence. So those they usually call it the seven energetic bodies. And this is bifurcated. It goes both ways. But I'll keep it simple. So your state of mind affects how your affects your emotion, which affects your energy, which in turn affects your physicality, which in turn will affect your energy, will turn and affect your emotion and your mentality. Meaning, if I'm happy, you can tell. If I show up happy and excited, oh, he's happy. You can tell by my physical expression, how I feel inside from my heart, etc., etc. Is always a happy guy. You turn around another day, you see me and I'm all down. You can tell, oh, he's sad. I wonder what happened. So our physical expression is also influenced by our emotions and our state of mind, and what do I mean? It's bifurcated. It goes forwards and backwards. It goes in both directions. To help feel or to help feel or have this experience of feeling energy, based on Chinese medicine, they have the five elements, right? Not like the group Earth, Wind, and Fire, but close. The five elements are earth, wood, fire, water, and metal. So earth is grounding, you're sinking down, you're connecting to the earth, you're being one with the earth, the solid foundation. Wood, think of a tree growing up, sinking its roots in and growing taller and spreading its branches, expanding slowly. Fire consumes, energetic, explosive, spreads out. Water, you go with the flow. Water could be soft, water could be hard. Water is formless, but it can take form. And we all try to be water, so we all go with the flow. When it's time to be hard, we be hard. When it's time to be soft, we be soft. We just go with the flow. Sometimes that's possible, sometimes that's not. But using these elements are used to help us manage or get an idea of what's manifesting inside. Then the last is metal. Metal severs, metal splits. Metal goes in two different directions. It goes through the middle and divides. That's one aspect of that. In Tai Chi, we use the eight energies. One is Pong, which is expansion. You expanding from your center in all directions. Forward, backwards, left, right, up, down. It's as if you getting bigger. And then when you take that expansion and you triangulate it to one point going in one direction, it's called G. So it's a triangulation of sorts to a straight direction to a point. That's G. The reverse of that is absorption, Lu. Lu is absorbing, bringing energy into the body and sending it down to the earth. That's Lu. Or diverting a force coming your way. That's Lu. On is crushing force, is pressing force down, earthward, earthbound, I should say. So on is a crushing force. So the four major forces: Pong expanding in all directions, G triangulation of two pongs to expansions coming to a point in any direction, but as long as in one direction. Lose absorbing, and then on is compressing. The other four energies a psi, which is pulled down, which is a combination of two energies, which is Lu and An. And then you have Lier, which is a split, which is two pongs going in opposite directions, right? And then you have the vertical alignment through your left side and the right side, of which all the other energies can manifest. Then you have energy, which is the elbow stroke. So the vertical stroke is the shoulder stroke, which is a vertical alignment on the left side and the right side, of which the energies manifest, right? Up and down vertically, right? You sinking down to create up, or you go up to shoot down. And then elbow stroke is the energies that go in all directions, up, down, left, and right. All these statements or energies are all used to study the body, observe the body, and discover the manifestations of things within the body, so we can be more in tuned and more aware of what's going on. So when you're aware of energy within the body, you can tell where there's tension. If you're tense say in your shoulder, you can feel that, okay, I just got to release that and let go. Easier said than done. But all of these practices are a culmination for one to feel inside. So from the formlessness of not feeling or knowing anything, we find a form of which you can relate to, have a tactile experience with, and then you have to release that to go back into formlessness, right? Formlessness, energized becomes a form. Again, form, energized, can get into formlessness, but when it does, it expands, it evolves. So we are always trying to evolve, which always trying to be better, right? So one way you say, I'm grounding, I'm sinking down, I'm just gonna hunker down and not move. That's a way of that's a type of energy within. But if one is not still, will not experience to know what those things are. From stillness, everything else manifests. We are always moving. We're always on the go. Being on the go all the time, you don't have time to, like I said again, smell the roses. And we build up tension in the body, and tension converted in a certain way becomes stress. And most of the time, we find different ways to decompress, which is a good way, which is a good thing, right? The decompression of all those energies. I mean, let me correct myself. Decompressing is being aware of all those energies within, right? The idea, the letting go, the concepts that come into the mind from wherever, that comes from our creativity, and we give it energy, we energize it and give it form. And that form spears us into doing, into taking action. And that action starts to evolve into something one can cherish. Once we're aware of these things, once we become more aware of these things, another way to make this thing become a thing, right, is to believe. We have to believe in the process, right? The exercises, the movement, in finding stillness, the breath work, all of that to help cultivate and build up and be aware and awaken the energy within us to be. To be is open, being present, being active. Because, like I said before, or I've said before, I always say this: stagnation is death. So if we're not moving, if we're stagnant, we're not feeding that energy, that form that came from formlessness, That form not fed starts to diminish, starts to dissolve, starts to disintegrate. And you're back to square one, right? And since we're always trying to be better, we're always trying to be better than what we were before. We're striving to be of service, and you have to be the best you can be. Not to sound cheesy or anything, but we to be where we need to be, then that comes in the practice, right? The movement of how we set ourselves up. The practice helps us believe. So when we do we take our due diligence to do the things that we're supposed to do, the training, the understanding, that reinforces the belief of what we can do, right? And the mind talk, right? I've been told before, sometimes we have to be very careful what we say to ourselves. If we say, oh, I'm not capable, I can't do it, then you're going to have diminishing returns. Yes, we have our ups and downs, but we're always striving forward, always striving to move and be better. Then we can overcome some of this negativity that comes our way. And then there's the battle of the ego. My grandmother's always used to say, humility, be humble. When we are humble, then we're open to learn, not only go through the day, but grow through the day. And every day should be a learning experience. Like the cycle, things are cyclical, things cycle around. So if you look at formlessness, moves around into form and then back into formlessness, back into form. Every time there's either an expansion or elevation or a dissolving or receding experience. The work is the progress of improvement. The work is the energy we put into that form, into that thing, right? If we are vessels, which we are, we're just a conduit for energy. We borrow energy from the earth and we borrow energy from around us. We just borrow and use. And so it's almost like some people say we're a medium. So the knowledge we attire, correction, the knowledge we gain and keep and makes us who we are, we get to share with others. We get to be of service of others. So being a vessel, like I said, if we're a vessel for excellence, puts us in the position and we're striving to be the best and we trust the process, then the energy will emanate from us. So many things are coming to my head at once. I want to share, but the energy emanates from us. Energy goes where the mind is focused. Where the mind focuses, energy goes. So if you think of a magnifying glass and you bring the energy from the sun to a point, then there's fire that emanates. Or think of a laser. So we are the same thing. Where we have energy, where our focus is on, that's where uh, energy goes. So in a nutshell, bringing it all around, our thoughts are the beginning, whichever ideas and concepts that manifest through those from our creative side, from the darkness, from where we birth into existence, our desires, our wants, our uniqueness, right? Which in turn brings out that energy that galvanizes us to call and lead and to inspire, to motivate with the greatest energy of all. One love.
Thank you for participating in today's enlightening session. As we transition to our next expert, remember that each strategy and insight is a step toward becoming a transformative leader in your field. Visit connectedleadersacademy.com to stay engaged and informed. The journey of change is ongoing. Let's move forward together.